And this meeting is a joint session of the Bird Club and the Ozaukee-Washington Birding Coalition, which brings together the Mequon Nature Preserve, our host tonight, along with River Edge Nature Center, Loch Lorne Conservancy, the Friends of the Cedarbird Bog, and the Michigan Bird Observer, all partners in the Ozaukee-Washington Birding Coalition, which aims to be able to, with support from the Bird Club, present at least 11 programs a year indoors, and a number of programs outdoors as well. We actually have a field trip tomorrow. If anybody has not seen the emails about it, see me afterwards, but it's a trip to the northern Kettle Moraine beginning at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. So anybody wants to join us for that, let me know, and I can give you directions and how to get there. So tonight's program features a good friend and a longtime friend and somebody who has also spoken to the Bird Club. Anita and I were trying to remember whether it was 15 years ago or 20 years ago, but it's been a few years. But I'm in charge of putting together the program schedule each year, and I thought back, boy, that was a lot of fun. I bet, and her good friend Betty Harriman told me that Anita had worked on a number of new quilts, and so I persuaded her to offer her program again. I'm pleased to announce that thanks to me being hijacked to become the interim editor of the Badger Birder, a job I gave up 2 years ago after 9 years of doing it. Anita is returning as a guest columnist for the newsletter of the State Ornithological Society. So,
thank you.
I'm looking forward to that. Look for your first issue on or around July 15th. And if you don't already belong to the State Ornithological Society, you should get on the internet and join it. So anyway, Anita has been a columnist for the Birder. She's won a national award from the Audubon Society for a column she did for Winnebago Audubon for...
It's 40 plus years now. I just finished the last this month's column today. So as a docent for college kids, she's led field trips to Florida for many years and participates in Christmas bird counts and May counts, and just has had a wonderful appreciation. She's a butterfly expert and an excellent birder, and she brings all she knows about the natural world to her quilts. Anita. Thank you.
Oh, and one more announcement. There are snacks over there, but no one can touch the snacks. If you touch the snacks, you can't touch the quilts. So touch the quilts
Don't
first.
touch the quilts.
Don't touch the quilts.
Don't touch the quilts.
Okay, well then that makes it simple. If you can't touch the quilts, then okay, eat when you want.
Speak with.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Wow, I'm pleased to be here. So we're going to show you my many hours of work. But first of all, I'd like to introduce you to my friend. It's a she. Her name is Dash, and she's a rescue snail. Because my sister found her in Goodwill. And my niece Shawl. And she said that I had to have it. And the reason she gave it, now Dash is part of the quilting family because when I construct my quilts, I hide things in them. And I also have my personal mark I put on the quilts, which is a snail. So, one or two snails, I never know how many. They tell me whether they want to be on the quilt or not. And so you might get distracted trying to find the snails. So like Carl said, for 32 years I co-led trips for the students at UWO on our spring trip. And one of their favorite places to go was the Florida Everglades. It's a fascinating ecosystem. I love it. And we've been there, we went there 12 seasons, and So this is the first quilt I will show you, shows what's called a tropical hardwood hammock. There are many different habitats within the Everglades. And as you know, the Everglades is actually a river of grass. The water starts up in Lake Okeechobee, and it slowly drains through to the Florida Bay. Well, if the land underneath the water is like risen a little bit, other debris might get caught on it, and over the years and decades and centuries, eventually this is exposed, and then you've got this little tiny island in the middle of this river of grass. And as it continues to get larger, seeds come in, seeds just fly in or they float in, and it becomes this really unique habitat. There can be 300 species on a tiny little island. So I'll show you okay, you're up. Okay, there you go, and lift her up. Just let it go. Well, it gets too far away then. No. Move forward. Okay, so this is a representation of what you might find in a tropical hardwood hammock. We've got the gumbo limbo tree. It's also called the sunburn tree because of its red bark. And we got 2 poisonwood trees here, which blend in with the background. And like I just did, you don't touch it. There's a reason it's named poisonwood. One of the interesting things, well, in the Everglades, nesting spots, roosting spots, growing spots are at a premium. So things are always growing on other things. And when you're down there, you see these big limbs are covered with resurrection ferns. And it's really an interesting plant. It's the rainy season down there now, so the ferns are nice and bright and green. When the dry season comes, they just shrivel up. But if a rain shower comes within 3 to 4 hours, they are green again. That's why they're called resurrection ferns. Some of the organisms, here's a bromeliad, the cardinal plant. It just is on the crotch of this limb. It doesn't use soil. It just gets nutrients from the water and from photosynthesis. What else we got? We got to keep looking because stuff is hidden in here. Okay? So, down at the bottom. Okay. This is passion vine, one of the many types of vines that we find down there. And this is the host plant. This is upon which the caterpillars feed of the zebra heliconian butterfly. Okay. These are kind of neat butterflies. They kind of like this, flutter around. And this is the caterpillar of the zebra heliconium. We got orchids. This is a night-scented orchid. And here, look, here's the golden orb weaver spider. Can you see that? It's a big spider. Oh, it would freak out the students. When we'd go along the trail down to the marina, and these spider webs are like this. And the spider itself is probably this big. But it's a really cool spider. And what's interesting, one of the plants that you find, what does this look like right down here? Yes, there are 3 species of cactus in a subtropical environment. This is called, this is called barbed wire cactus. And it has a diameter maybe about like this, and it can grow 10 feet, 12 feet tall. And if a hurricane comes along and it breaks off, it'll grow again from the broken off a part of the cactus. And the other two species are two species of prickly pear. I mean, you don't expect cactuses to be in this type of environment. So we got some other plants. This is a Boston fern. We got some anoles. A really interesting organism are the tree snails, the Florida tree snails. And you find them crawling up all in the trees, in the mahogany trees. It's just amazing. And and when it gets to the dry season, they just hang from the trees like this. And then when the rains come again, they'll crawl off the tree, mate, lay their eggs, and then go back up in the trees. So, any questions?
Was that your first quilt?
No. Let's see.
Don't forget the snake.
I got a coral snake. I kind of put the coral snake up there. Poisonous snake. This one was done in, I didn't put the date on this one. Well, that's maybe 10 years ago or something like that.
Beautiful. You want it on a table over there?
Yeah, you can put it on one of the tables. Well, like I said, it's the rainy season in Florida right now. So I think it's time for us to go to some place. Maybe we can, who else would like to help me? Here. Come on, 2 people. Then we can keep things moving. Okay. So you're just going to lift it up.
Okay.
Okay, Elaine. So we're going to go to the desert southwest where it's nice and warm and dry.
Can we ask you guys to stand on the top step? Thanks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, can you see it though?
Well, okay, this is a Sonoran desert in the desert southwest. And of course, the iconic image of that particular desert is the saguaro cactus. That in itself is an interesting plant. It can live to be 150 to 200 years old. It doesn't shoot out or do an arm until it's about 50 years old. And it needs a nurse plant when the seeds, so after 2 years, the cactus is only going to be 1/4 of an inch tall. And it may be 5 inches in 10 years. It's a slow-growing cactus.
Want to try a laser pointer? If you press that button.
Okay. Oh, okay. I play red dot with the cat at home. So, okay. So, and again, in the desert, I don't know where to stand. Am I in your way? I can't. Now I feel confined. Okay. Okay, the nest sites in the desert are also at a premium. So we have to thank the, what kind of woodpecker? How many birders we got out here? Now you're afraid to admit it, aren't you? Yeah, Gila woodpeckers. They come and hollow out the holes in the saguaro cactus. They don't nest in them right away. The inside of the hole has to harden before they will nest in there. So one day, Betty and I were on a field trip in Tucson, and whenever I'm with a group, everybody else is looking at the bird, and I'm always looking like this to see what's behind me. And I went over to make an acquaintance with a saguaro cactus, and I looked up, and these 2 little yellow eyes were looking down on me. And this is an elf owl that nests in holes made by the Gila woodpecker. And I just realized this is the smallest woodpecker in the world living in the biggest cactus of the world. So, and we got other things. What else do you see in the desert scene? We got a roadrunner here. What was that? Quail, Gamble's quail, Chicago. We got a couple, many species of cactus in the Saguaro Desert, but I've only got 2 species of prickly pear, and this is a claret. This is a teddy bear cactus. This is the Arizona barrel cactus. And this butterfly is the desert black swallowtail. We got 2 snakes in here. Can you hold it up higher?
Trying to find them.
Well, one.
You lost them.
We got this one. That's this smooth, and should be is there a desert coral snake? I'm not picking it up right now.
Just 2 parts left of the poppies.
And the prickly pear. We got one right down here. I can't find it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here it is.
Yep.
Yeah, I got it. I see it now. I got it. Okay.
He was hiding.
He was hiding under there, and this is the prickly pear right here. Or this is the desert coral snake. So,
Okay, we have to do a little,
okay.
we're gonna do a little spin around though. You guys gotta see the back. Yeah, her back's up. That's really nice.
Thank you. So now let's go where it's cold. Okay, who's up? Shawl? You're here. Just grab it. The big ones take about 500 hours, and usually takes about 6 months.
How long does it take you to design it, Anita?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Well, how do I design it? Well, first of all, I have to come up with an idea, and it's in my head. And I know how I'm going to lay it out, and I just do a 8.5 by 11 picture and kind of draw it out. And then with the saguaro cactus, I had to make a big picture so I could get a feel for how big the cactus was to make the organisms in perspective and size related to the size of the cactus. And then, but many of the details aren't in there yet. It just grows as I work on it. I'll say, oh, I think I need something here. What do I put there or something there? It's an ongoing process through the whole thing. And sometimes I have to tell myself to stop. So now we're up in the boreal forest. I was fortunate to go with students from Ripon College for their spring bird class. And we would get there, maybe the second week in May, and the water was still frozen. And it was just starting to open up. But in 3 weeks, the boreal forest was in bloom. It was just absolutely amazing how fast it changes. But many of the plants are evergreen, and so they don't have to put up leaves in the springtime. So we have all sorts of flowers that we find in the boreal forest. Oh, the camp was north of Ely, Minnesota, right near the Boundary Water. So we're talking way up there. And so you got lady slippers and trailing arbutus and blue bead lily, and this is the nodding trillium. And if you look closely, okay, right here, what do we got here? That's why you can't, we're too far away to see. What I should have said when I started the talk was how many birders were here, and I think you needed to start a new checklist. No, I knew. I said, why do we need a checklist? You should have a checklist for the birds you see in these quilts. Okay, so these are some of the organisms you see. And there's a red-bellied snake that's hidden in here. And here's a red-backed salamander right there. It was raining up there one day, and I saw this clump on the ground, and I thought, an earthworm? And I went over, and it turned out to be a red-backed salamander. Those things are only like that long. And it was really amazing how fast it came alive. It was a fabulous, and of course, here's another bird for your list. So, okay. Well, I don't do scenes of everything. You gotta, help. Okay. So this is this quilt is all about oaks. How many species of oaks do you think we have in the country?
15.
That's about what we have in the state. In the country, no, we don't have 15. In the country? Well, that's close. We have 92 species of oaks in the country. And of course, we're familiar with the oaks that have the lobes or the points like that. But when you get to the southwest, then you get leaves that look like holly leaves. So there's quite a bit of difference in the leaves. This quilt depicts 34 species of leaves. And look closely. Do you see the things that are hidden in there? Shout it out. Okay.
Butterfly.
Okay, we got a red banded hair streak right here. And every one of these organisms is somehow associated with oaks. Red banded hair streak, this is a southern butterfly. And what's unusual about them is that they lay their eggs on leaves that have fallen on the ground. Most of them we got different kinds of acorns here. What's this? It's a blue jay feather. Because blue jays like acorns. I also hid some leaves that shouldn't be in here. You got one here? A ginkgo leaf.
You know that one.
So that's why you have to really look at these quilts. Here's an oak toad that lives in the slash pines down in Georgia. Here's a underwing moth. These feed, the caterpillars feed on oaks. So there's all. Okay, now
That's great.
Carl's bringing his binoculars. Okay, so, no, you just stay there.
Okay.
So myself, it's skinny.
Where's,
I got it.
okay. Well, when I finished this quilt, and I said to myself,
Oh, that was a great idea.
what I said to myself, well, if I saw this quilt in an exhibit or something, it would drive me nuts because I wouldn't know what kind of oak leaves they are. So I told myself, well, I've got to make an oak key quilt. So this depicts all the oaks and the acorns that is associated with that oak that's on this quilt. So.
And if you travel with her, we stopped at every oak tree that year and had to identify it, right?
Yes, yes. That's why you go on a road trip. So, okay.
You should walk down closer.
What?
Before you put them away, come past.
We can walk past that. That's
Go that way, and everybody will get us closer.
okay. We're also going to put them out on a table so you can look at them afterwards. Okay.
Taking a hike with Anita is a unique experience. It's my cardiologist tells me that going on a birding field trip, even if you walk 2 miles, doesn't count as cardiac activity.
Okay. Here, you grab. Come on. This one I call milkweeds, monarchs, and more. These are all the organisms that are associated with milkweeds. Got to look closely again. So we got like the monarch butterfly and the soldier. Well, here's the life cycle of the monarch. Got different species of milkweeds, pokeweed. And here in the winter time or fall, we see the pods. These are some of the organisms. We have 12 species of insects in Wisconsin that utilize milkweeds. That's why it's so important to plant milkweeds. The red milkweed beetles are out now, and there's something called the milkweed weevil beetle. It's about this big. And I volunteer with the grounds crew at the university. And last year, the chancellor then dictated that we were not allowed to have milkweeds. And for years, we had let all the milkweeds grow where they ever sprouted. Well, we were able to salvage some, but they were very concerned about this big berm on Wisconsin Street and the mall through the main campus. Well, those were our 2 best producing milkweed species. And I got to thinking about this later, and I thought, so you eliminate the milkweeds, you not only eliminate the monarch butterflies, but there are all these other organisms that, so in springtime, you've got the red milkweed beetle and the stem weevil. And later we also have the leaf milkweed leaf beetle. But if you cut them down, you're not only affecting the monarchs. Once you get the flowers, it's one of the best nectar plants we have out there in the environment. So you're impacting all the insects that are going to nectar on that milkweed. And if you don't have the flowers, then you're not going to have the bees that pollinate the thing, which grows into the pods. And then on the pods, you're not going to have the large milkweed bug and the small milkweed bug because they feed on the seeds and the population on campus has crashed.
So you couldn't talk him out of it, huh?
He's gone. The chancellor's gone. He left.
That stings, right?
He's gone. And guess what? The milkweeds are growing on the berm again. Yeah, we have a new chancellor coming in, and we are really high on him. We think he's really going to do great things. And he's really into sustainability. We have a sustainability director up there that's just wonderful. And we're keeping our fingers crossed. Yeah. So these are some of all the things that you see. And again, you have to take a close look. I may need a couple extra helpers here. When we took the students to Florida, just do it one at a time. Okay. One of the activities we would take the students on, we go snorkeling at Penny Camp in Key Largo. So, of course, I had to do a coral reef quilt. And it was really amazing. When I started quilting, I couldn't draw a thing. Never. I couldn't draw. I couldn't draw. And we had an art teacher said, anybody can draw. I said, I can't draw. Well, guess what? I drew all those fish. I drew the turtle and the other things. I don't know how that happened. I have no idea how that happened. So we have a green sea turtle. We have, these are blue tang fish. But then I tried my idea of hiding fish in the school of blue tang was to do a yellow-tailed damselfish and those kind of things. We got several kinds of corals here. They all have their names, but I can't remember them. I've got it written down, but yeah. So,
What kind of crab is that?
this crab, it's up. Hang on. It's my cheat sheet. I realized, when you work on something so much, you think you're going to remember everything. That's called a coral crab, right there. And a spiny lobster. Nobody's seen any snails yet. Nobody's called out snails. Okay. Oh, good. So, yeah. So this is what you see on the coral reef. Okay, you're going to stand up there. Next.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can we take pictures?
Yes, you can
Oh, we
take.
can? Oh, I didn't know. I didn't want to.
You can take pictures.
Okay.
Okay. Who's on next? I need help. Okay. I got so excited about making that coral reef quilt.
So how about you, did you go swimming in it?
We were snorkeling.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, we were snorkeling in there. So you got to put this one over here. Okay. So you got the coral reef, the main coral reef, but then you've got where it grades into shoreline. Okay? Yeah, those are moon jellyfish. Anybody recognize those? How about the Prevagen ad? That's moon jellyfish. That's what that is. Another sea turtle, barracudas, a sea anemone. This is a spiny. Yeah. Spiny urchin. Thank you. Well, so as you go into shore from the main coral reef, then you run into all the turtle grass, and you're going to have different fish there. There's a peacock flounder and some of your mollusks. Well, at night, these spiny sea urchins feed in the turtle grass beds, and they come out at night and they start feeding over here. And these are two angel triggerfish, and these two guys feed on the spiny lobsters. Those are the only fish that can feed on them. Yeah, elkhorn coral here. This is spiny. Oh, you know how hard it is to remember all these things. Yeah. So that's from going from the main coral reef to the shore. Okay, who's up next? Okay. Yes.
How do you make the background on that one?
That was just a piece of material.
It's just one piece of it.
That's one piece of material.
Oh, you should go with her to pick material out.
It's really, I search and search for just the right material. Okay. No, oh, Carl. We are going where there's a bigger hole. So now we're going on the deep water reef. And here's a rock beauty. And you can see that the corals here, it's kind of petering out as you get down to here.
Lisa, you're going to have to send me this one. I only got the one with the picture with the two.
Yeah. Somebody take some pictures. Lisa, you're taking pictures? Yeah.
And these are French angelfish. And these are jackknife fish. That's a deep water fish. This is a spotted eagle ray that you find.
Remember that one, Barbara?
I'll take this, you go take a picture.
Then you can go get your threesome.
Well, I'll get out of the way. So it sort of gives you a continuum of what.
Did you do all the fish, every one of them by hand?
It takes a lot of time just to cut them out and.
At least 2 years.
What?
At least 2-year project for these three.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Are all the fish, do you ever paint, or is this all fabric applique?
It's all fabric applique.
Well, they were all cut out. She drew it first, she cut the pattern second, paper pattern.
Then you have to put adhesive backing on it, and then you fuse it on the material, and then you have to edge stitch it with a tiny zigzag around every little.
That's why I wondered, because they're so intricate, some of them.
Well, this French angelfish, it has tiny little yellow. Well, that's all little white stitches, yellow stitches.
And the jellyfish are unbelievable.
And this just adding those yellow stitches took me 5 hours.
What is your workshop look like?
That is, that's a very interesting question, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. I work in the kitchen. Yes, my sister. I work in the kitchen. I work on the kitchen table. I have to take everything down. And all my fabric, all my thing is just in one corner of the kitchen.
She also works on the kitchen floor.
And I most often work on the kitchen floor. Because I don't have room. And I'm short, so it's easier for me to work on the floor. No, you have to work on the floor. And sometimes you don't really know the impact until it's finished and you can hold it up like this and you say, wow, that really did work. So, yeah, yeah, okay.
When you get done with one of these, do you look at it and go, that's exactly what I was after, or are you constantly kind of, oh, I should have?
No, when it's done, it's done. It's just, yeah.
Amazing.
And I have to be honest, sometimes I just take them out and I say, did I do that? I can't believe I did that. So,
We can't believe you did that.
well, okay, you can walk by. Make a parade of the coral reef.
But I can tell you, as soon as it's done, her brain starts going to the next one.
Of course.
Her brain's on 3 down the road already.
Oh, that was a question I was gonna ask, do you overlap? So it sounds like yes.
What?
Do you overlap? It sounds like yes.
So Anita, do you put something on the back of every single one of your?
Oh, I try to. I don't always do.
Yeah,
What is that?
right, exactly.
What are those?
What?
Can't touch it.
Coral?
That's just coral.
Coral?
Yeah,
And a conch, so.
yeah. Well, that's all right.
Or dash.
What?
I wanted to point out your snail.
Someone found the snail?
And the fabrics in there are just amazing.
Still kicking.
Still biking. Good. Lot less go.
Oh, I imagine, yeah.
The jellyfish are really great.
Yeah, I love the jelly.
That is amazing. All those stitches in that, oh my gosh.
And you couldn't, when you did this, you know how oftentimes you scoop?
Yes.
You couldn't
Couldn't
scoop.
do that on that.
No,
Yeah.
each stitch had to go up, and then down, and then up, and then down.
Amazing, just amazing.
They're rolled up in the closet.
Do you display them at any events,
Nobody's asked.
any public events?
Nobody asked. You were in, Watoma?
I was in Toma. That was at the very beginning. They just no.
I could just take your information later. I'll take your
Okay. Okay, where are we off to next? Let's see. Oh, this is, hang on, I got it. This I call Southern Autumn.
Sounds magnolia.
Well, Elaine and I were on one of our road trips. That's my sister. And we were in southern Illinois. And I just got enamored with all the different shapes of leaves than what we have around here. And so we've got tulip trees, and they're just all sorts. Well, here, I've got it here.
Some gum tree leaves in there? Liquid gum bar?
The sweet gum is in there. We got sassafras, got common post oak, eastern white oak, mucker, hickory. Here's a hickory tree.
I love the
Turkey
turkey feather.
feather. Look closer.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
What are you looking for, Joan?
I was looking at the feather.
Yeah, turkey feather.
Is that a turkey? Oh, there's a turkey, but above that is a blue jay.
Oh, yeah, I was looking at
That's a blue jay feather. We got a red admiral. There's a common buckeye.
yeah.
Anybody see the turkey tracks? Well, Yeah,
Spin back to the front. You can
turn
see 'em.
back to the front. There are turkey tracks on the front. Look closely. There's one. There's one. Here. See? They're walking across the leaves.
The butterfly up in the left corner, is that buckeye?
Where are we? Which one?
Is that a buckeye?
There's a common buckeye. Yes, woolly bear caterpillar.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. This? I think that's one of the overcup oak acorn. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, okay.
So how do you make the feathers? Do you make them in sections or?
No, that's one piece of fabric, and you just, let's see.
So you actually find a piece of fabric that,
No.
like the turkey feather,
The turkey feather,
with the stripes and the white and
each, okay, you've got your base color, and then all those little stripes. Here, maybe you can hold it up a little bit. Hold it up. All those little, that's separate pieces of material.
okay, so you layer them.
Yeah, this is all separate pieces of material. This is separate.
Okay, good. Wow.
Yeah, this one.
We're just making room to put.
Is that the next one? Is that the next one?
Yes,
Okay.
yes it is.
Okay. The next one I call Nature's Glory. What was that, Carl?
A triptych is 3. This is
What?
Are these just pieces of your others?
No, they're I mean, it's inspired by some of the other quilts, but it's all separate. You know, like the saguaro cactus, and this is a northern scene. And for your bird checklist, what's right here?
Where's the snail?
Another snail.
That's a sow-whet owl. Yeah, Carl, get out your binoculars.
Snails on the bottom, 2 in from the right.
Yeah, orange right there. Right there.
This is sea turtles, hatchling sea turtles going to the sea.
I see a raven.
Great, yes. Can you,
And is that caterpillar on the top right? Is that the caterpillar for the butterfly center?
yeah, this again is the passion vine with the caterpillar.
pileated woodpecker in the snag.
Yes. Right. Here. What do we got here? See, you have to keep looking. I try to hide stuff.
Oh, and then I like the caterpillar on your vine around the edge.
This one?
No, on the, there, yeah.
That's a queen caterpillar. Yeah, the vine, I just decided, it's not symmetrical or anything. Tiger swallowtail and a spring azure. Yeah.
Stitched, huh?
Pardon?
Is there's a white stitching up on the top left? No, not top, down. No, down.
No, that's, quilt judges would not like this. Because you're showing different colors of stitching on the back. Okay, turn around, please. See, because I've edge stitched all these flowers, and then when you put it on the backing and you make your 3 layers to quilt it, I outline every item on the quilt. So I think it gives it more depth. And so like when you do this, this is moonflower. When you do this, you'd have to do white around the flower or brown around the tree. Because if you did the same color, it wouldn't look right because the wrong colors. So, okay. We're getting near the end. Oh, which is this? Okay. This is called Native Wisconsin. Those are all the things that you might find on the Wisconsin landscape.
So are you saying that the judges would want to see the white threads on the back?
No,
Okay.
no, no.
How do you avoid that, though?
I can't avoid it. I don't send it to quilt shows.
They don't understand your quilt.
They don't understand my quilts.
You should send them to museums instead.
Yeah.
They don't understand them because they're all looking for the traditional log cabin quilt squares or something like that, you know. And
But you did have a show at the Quilt Museum in Cedarburg.
yeah, I did that one. Yeah, that was, yeah. So, what's your each one of these is an 8-inch square. It took me 30 hours to do each one. Wow. To come up with an idea.
Yes, everywhere.
30 times 30.
30 times 30 is 900 hours. Wow.
This one took me a year. And then I got it all done, and I was just going to put the basic square in the blue sashing between them. And I said, no, we can't do that. It would look better if there was a border around the panel to put it. So I'll ask you, what's your favorite panel?
From this distance, the red-headed woodpecker.
What was that, the red-headed woodpecker?
Red-headed woodpecker.
Yeah. Well, I like the dragon
And the owl, you know, is just spectacular too.
The story. The spider web, yeah.
2 from the left, 3 down from the top.
Right there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty.
So I tried to hit different habitats, and it just, here's another bird for your list.
I'm a big fan of yellow-headed flappers.
Yeah, me too.
I think there's a spider web left with those yellow flowers.
What?
There's a silver spider web right there. There's spider web.
Yeah, there's, you got the snowy owl here? Right? You have to come up and look. Right here he is. Luna moth. Let me tell you about the Luna moth panel. I wanted to do a Luna moth. I wanted white birch in there because they feed on white birch up north. And I got 2 caterpillars. Well, I don't know how many variations I tried to get this to look good. I would put the moth on the branch, and then I would do this. And And it just wasn't working, so I put it away. And then I bring it out. Still nothing I liked. So I got so disgusted, I threw the Luna moth on the panel, and I said, that's it. So I liked that. I liked the way it turned out. And wood lily and Milbert's tortoiseshells, the piping plover, three types of bottle gentian.
I like the feathers too.
The feathers, yeah. You should be able to.
Marsh marigolds? How about the feathers?
Marsh marigolds, yes.
What's the top plant?
It used to be, it's called ghost plant. It used to be called Indian pipe, but that's not politically correct, ghost plant. And it's sort of a saprophyte. It's like a mushroom that grows on something else. That's why it's white. It doesn't have any pigments, green pigment in there. Okay? Everybody had enough? Well, I mean, I don't think there's much on the back. That was just.
Oh, yeah. Look at how the stitching comes through.
Here, we can put one on there. Does everybody remember the pandemic?
What pandemic?
It didn't exist. We survived it. I finished a quilt like 2 days before he declared you couldn't go anywhere, and they closed the quilt stores. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was working, trying to find material. So I said, okay, I'll just use my stash. So I've got several names for this quilt. Pandemonium. And the last one I came up with, what's wrong with this quilt? Okay, you're on. Everything still is sort of correct. Okay.
What's wrong with this quilt?
Look closely. For example, I'll get you started here.
There's a snail on there.
That's good, yes. Yes, several snails.
Joan is a snail expert.
I just had fun. I could be silly. I could just have fun. So here, on this one, for example, we've got a blue parrotfish. That's what a blue parrotfish looks like, except it doesn't have a heart on its tail.
Well, he doesn't blow hard balls.
Look at the bubbles. See? So that's what's wrong with the thing. So,
It's adorable.
and you have to really look closely.
Oh, what is
This is a quiz. Can you name these? Can you name these trees? My sister. No, you have to be more specific.
Ulmus americana.
And
Quercus bicolor. Quercus macrocarpa.
that's a nice try, Carl. Okay, how about white oak, black locust, scarlet oak, black oak,
What's this one?
blue ash. And this is tulip tree, but it's also called yellow poplar. This one right here. Because she,
That's my contribution.
so she did paper piecing, so we did that.
Strawberry in a funny place.
What?
I see a strawberry in a funny place.
Yes. Ever hear about the strawberry moon?
Cactus in amongst.
Owl is upside down?
Yeah, the cactus is upside down. You really have to really look closely so to.
And another snail. You went crazy with the snails on this one.
Well, look at the back.
This looks like something out of Alice in Wonderland.
Interesting, Carl.
Snails on the top and snails on parade.
Turn around, Carl, please. Interestingly, every mushroom on this panel is correct. And the colors are correct. There's orange, there's like a purple court. This is morels. This is, the amanitas. Yeah.
Chicken in the woods?
Chicken in the woods. Yeah. No, like deadly amanita, one of those. So. Yep.
You got one more table. It's going to come out even. Your last vote's going
Okay.
to go right.
Okay. Well, I asked my friends on Native Wisconsin, and Brad really liked yellow-headed blackbirds, and I said, I can do, and this is what I came up with. This is my last quilt I did, and this is the cattail marsh. Yep. So what do we see there?
There's a bittern hiding in there.
Yes, yes. Here's American bittern.
Okay, what is that? Just to the right of the bittern, there's a red thing by a lily pad. That.
Well, you have to look at it. What's this?
What's what?
Right here.
Muskrat house. Oh, it's a muskrat.
That's a muskrat. Yep. Good eyes. Good eyes. This is duck potato. Of course, the white water, the fragrant water lilies. Pickerel weed, great egret, green frog. Yeah. So this was the most difficult quilt I've worked on. It was very hard to get the perspective right. And it took me 30 hours to get all these cattails in here. You think, oh, well, that's just, well, you couldn't do that because you had to, here's the wren. Yeah. So you had to make sure he was behind the thing and like this and that. And I could only do about 6 inches at a time. And then you had to get like the stems, the cattails behind the leaves. You know, so all those little things you have to think about.
All on the kitchen floor.
On the kitchen floor. Yes, on the kitchen floor. Yeah. Are there any questions?
How do you do the eyes like you did them?
These two have two little black beads. The background has a little piece of black material, and then you put the bead on there.
Very cool.
There's a bead on the egret. I think there's even a bead on the muskrat.
Oh, and down there the bittern even has the beads.
Yeah,
That's a very cool touch.
yeah, and
Muskrat might even have those, I think.
Get muskrat. And then I embroider, a lot of these will have spider webs on them. Just things to try and make it better. I don't think I put anything on the back there.
There is something.
Oh,
And your little signature, just your signature.
oh, just my signature. I haven't put my name on it yet. Yeah. So,
So Anita,
yes, Carl.
you know, I'm thinking of what Joni Ernst reminded us of all the other day. Where do you envision these quilts spending
I don't know.
eternity?
I don't know.
Museum of Wisconsin Art in West Bend.
Well, that's where I would like to have them go, but I'm sure they wouldn't do the whole collection.
They might be interested in having the whole collection and displaying parts of it.
They would,
Or
they would
that
jump on
older
it.
museum in Sheboygan,
Indigenous art,
yeah,
yeah.
that displays art from folks.
I don't think anybody else does what I do,
No,
because you have to have a knowledge of what's out there and how the things interact with each other. And
I started to say something early on, that's some of the most amazing part about it. I mean, not only are you an artist, but you know where to put things. You know the symbiosis of what creatures exist with what other creatures.
And if she doesn't already know it, she researches it
Yeah.
while she's doing the quilt.
Would you accept an invitation to display them at something like the WSO convention some year?
She'll think about it.
I'll
Ask
have,
her to make a decision.
Yeah.
well, it's hard for something like that just to, they'd have to be protected. And that would be the problem. And I don't want anybody to
Right,
touch them or
yeah,
throw ketchup on them.
yeah.
You know, just,
Have to,
it would hit.
They shouldn't eat outside their
Display for a while, they're having their new opening, and they would be hanging from the ceiling and they wouldn't be touchable.
I'd have to think about it.
again, I wasn't looking for an answer.
I know. Well, if it were like some place at like Ozaukee Museum, you know, they're also into nature art stuff. And I wouldn't hesitate to give it to them because they always seem to have docents running around and
The company at MOA with Anita painting up there.
yeah.
So Anita, one time, a long time ago, I was looking at one of your quilts, and I saw there was a little piece missing. It wasn't finished, there was a little piece missing. And so I said, you realize that this isn't finished? And you said, I haven't been able to find the right color yet.
I look and look and look. And right now, you can't find nature greens. And that is so difficult.
Where do you get a lot of your fabric for this kind of project? Where do you find that? Just in many different places? Or
Yeah, I just
a
go
lot
to
of them have
quilt
closed.
store. I know.
A lot of them have closed.
And Joann's is gone, you know, you don't know what.
Yes.
Well, I happened to run in right the day before they closed. They must have gotten in some more batting, so I was able to get 3 or 4 packages of batting. But thread, because I use the Gouderman thread, and I don't know where to go for it. And you don't want to buy material over the internet because the colors aren't right. Right. So
And
it's,
you limit yourself to boutiques now.
and I limit myself pretty much to boutiques, but there's sometimes I have to, you know, with a little piece of the
But it's so hard now. I'm the same issue if I have fabric.
right.
So many places closed.
Well, let them look at them closely then.
Yeah, you can go look it up. Go look at them closely.
No touching. And there are, well, first of all, any more questions? I don't want to cut things off. Anybody have any more questions?
Awesome.
Otherwise,
How did I start doing this? Well, that's kind of an interesting story, because I was working as a pharmacist in the drugstore. And my co-worker raised orchids, so she was bringing orchids, and the customers just liked it. Well, pretty soon I started crocheting Christmas snowmen and things. I started putting it up. She said to me, well, you should try quilting. And I said, no, because people become obsessed with quilting. I said, I don't need any more things to do. Well, one day I went into a quilt store in downtown Oshkosh, and here was a quilt, a Halloween quilt, and it had images from Halloween opposite log cabin quilt squares. And I said, well, I like the idea, but I want to do snowmen. So I went and bought, I already had sewing skills, so that helped. And so I made a first quilt out of snowmen in log cabin quilt squares, and I hung it up in the pharmacy. And the customers liked it. You know, and actually, a pharmacy should almost do more of that, because then it gets people not thinking about why they're to visit you. You know, because they would come in just to look at the quilts and the flowers and stuff like that. And I said, and I got it done. I said, well, I kind of like this. And then, so the next one I did was a butterfly quilt, again with the same idea, log cabin quilt squares, and then I did butterflies. And I hung that up in the pharmacy, and the response was overwhelming. And then with my interest in nature, I said, from now on, I'm doing all nature quilts. And so I just sort of started like that, and it's just kind of mushroomed. And that's a very important analogy. Yeah.
How many years have you been doing this?
20, 25. What?
Do you know how many total?
I know of the big ones, I got 26 of those. And these are the most recent ones. And then we had the smaller ones out before, like, and for those that knows what this, what's this? It is a hurricane. This is Hurricane Wilma. Yeah, because I was watching the Weather Channel, and they were showing this, you know, the radar image, and I looked at that and said, quilt. And so I was trying to see how I could do that. And but some people think it's a flower. Some people have said it looks like a parrot. You know,
Parrot's eye.
yeah, parrot's eyes. Yeah, some have no idea. But it's just, yeah. So, and then, you know, just these are the small ones. And this is, you recognize the mountain? Mount Rainier. My best friend in pharmacy school, she now lives out in Seattle, and so I made one of these for her because she does a lot of work with the Washington Trails Association and stuff. So, yeah, so yeah, it just.
Anita, do you want to share what your current project is, what you're working on?
My current project? Well, I'm struggling with my current project because it's turning out to be harder than the cattail marsh. What I'm trying to do is a fallen white pine log, like sort of from up north, and all the organisms you would find on a fallen log. You know, you got the lichens and the moss. How do you make moss? You know, because moss is all these little things like that. And so looking at things with some of the things you'd find along with white pine, what I thought was really fascinating, when the white pine tree drops its cones, you know, and it opens up a little bit like that, there's a species of mushroom that solely uses those cones. I mean, really? And it's just a tiny little white one like this, very delicate. And what I'm finding is that things are almost too small to put on. It's too small. And yeah, but you got snakes that could be hiding under there, or birds, and you know, the possibilities are out there. So that's a struggle.
How about this, how about the big center panel with that, and then, you know, for your white pine, and then smaller panels that would have like zoomed in. Zoomed in.
I've got a stack like this of ideas. And it's just whatever.
A website or something where you chronicle what you're doing, do you? Nothing like that? So we can watch this progress of this white
Well,
pine.
and let me tell you something. Nick has been, Nick Gall is the restoration ecologist here at Mequon Nature Preserve and is also our videographer tonight. This program will be available on YouTube. And if you signed up electronically for the program, you'll get it. If you're already on the Cut-Right Bird Club email list, you'll get it. You'll get a link to it. So anyway, we want to thank Anita very much for this talk tonight. And to show,
You don't have to do anything.
I do have to do this because you're our guest and speaker. A small honorarium from the Cut-Right Bird Club, which underwrites these programs each year. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Carl.
Thank you. Glad you could come.
Yeah.
Sneaky way to get.
What a delightful audience.
Snacks available here for people who were promised not to touch the quilts.